I'm going to stop saying welcome to Bonehead.
Yeah, I think they know what they're watching at this.
All right. This is Bonehead, and we have a special guest star. Do we have a special guest star, James?
Is it me?
No, but we're missing somebody.
Are we missing him?
Chad.
Yeah, where's Chad?
No, you're Chad.
Oh, I'm Chad tonight. Okay.
I'm going to be really sexist.
Okay.
You're the shittiest looking man I've ever saw.
I'm good with that. I'm okay with it.
But you look better than Chad.
I appreciate
Wouldn't that mean Chad? I mean, if you just said she looked better than Chad, and you said that she was...
You're really reaching to insult him here, aren't you?
So Laurel Hightower is an author and our second ever female guest. Did you know that?
I did not. I feel good about that. I'm not really blazing territory if that was already one there. But
No. Jen Combs busted that cherry. But to be frank,
sloppy seconds or
I mean, yeah. But it's with the Boneheads. Who else would you want to have sloppy seconds with?
Right. So
anyway, you wrote a book and you're local. And what I'd like to go ahead and get started is how on earth did we find out about all this and how did we meet you? Because we actually only met in person. What are we looking at? Maybe
8 minutes ago?
10, 15 minutes ago is probably about right?
Yeah.
So we have a mutual friend. Who is it? Miranda.
Yeah.
I don't think she watches or listens anymore.
Probably not. She's not on Facebook anymore.
No.
You got to find her on Instagram.
She's on the Instagrams. Is she on the Twitters?
Yes, I believe she's still on Twitter.
Okay. She's still on Twitter. This isn't interesting to our crowd, but we all belong to a group, right?
Yes.
And then we started talking. We all had mutual interests. And then we found out one of us is an author. I don't know why I keep saying author. It is you.
It is me.
So do me a favor.
Okay.
Tell me about yourself. How did you end up here in Lexington?
I grew up here for the most part.
What do you mean for the most part?
I was born in New York. My dad worked for IBM. Yeah. So
where at New York?
Endicott, County. Yeah. Nowhere cool at all.
Upstate New York looks like Kentucky.
That is what I hear. And all the IBM people go back and forth. So yeah. So born in New York, but grew up here. And lived a couple other places in college and just came back home.
So where did you go to college at?
That's a long answer. There's 5 different schools.
We have a cat on the table, so keep going.
Hi, kitty.
My soda.
Santa Barbara, Tennessee, UT Knoxville. I know, right? And I went directly from
Santa Barbara actually had a soap opera about it. No one made a soap opera about UT Tennessee. A. Martinez never started a show.
But they have the Body Farm there.
That's true.
UT Knoxville has the Body Farm under Neyland Stadium.
And if you don't know what the Body Farm is,
you should. You should know what it is.
It's a farm where they toss up bodies just to see how they decompose.
They completely do in all kinds of different ways.
That's awesome.
And I don't know if
have you been to the actual Body Farm?
I haven't. No, part of the reason I went there is I was an anthropology major at the time, and I wanted to get into osteology.
That's where
and that
the bugs
kind of
are.
That's what I hear, of course. Academia always. And you don't have to get your PhD to get that or anything either. But
you're going to be fine.
No, I didn't get that far with it, but I did take some really great classes there. And I learned, because most of the classes in the anthro department at the time were under Neyland Stadium, the football stadium.
Yeah.
And they also store a bunch of bodies.
Does it get loud on Saturday?
Yes, I would imagine.
You guys cut that running out.
Stop it! We're studying down here.
Somebody's trying to do an experiment. You got beakers shaking all over the place.
Some of us are here to learn.
Looks like Big Jim just went in for a touchdown.
I don't think you can get close to that place with a book on a Saturday. Like any
probably not.
Like
unless it's some sort of playbook, and they're all on the tablets now. Yeah. So anyway,
not allowed to.
Just my idea of you being at the stadium while the football game was playing. And some a-hole eventually at one time was down there.
Oh, no, I'm sure.
I can guarantee you there was
and
probably...
complained about the noise and everything.
I would assume it was probably a faculty member. Let's just go ahead and say
almost
that.
Certainly.
Like, it was on a Saturday, like, I am here trying to do research.
And could you turn it down a skosh?
Just a
skosh. Yeah. I'm sure that happened. But also possibly someone complained about the boiling bodies down there, because they do, when they go to clean the bodies.
Once they take the rest of the meat off of them.
Yeah, once they're done, they
tissue.
boil them.
I'm so sorry.
The tissue. Yeah, we're all meat.
Yeah, we're all meat.
But
all
that's how they.
sense.
That's how they boil it off. So, yeah, I've read some of Dr. Bass's stuff. It's kind of interesting.
I don't know anything about Dr. Bass.
He's the one who heads up the body farm. He's the one who does that whole thing.
Okay,
so.
you gotta remind me about.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's all right.
It's kind of my version of horror there too on it.
That's awesome. So, did you graduate from UT?
I did not. Not even close.
Did you graduate from Santa Barbara?
No.
I'm not trying to pick a scab.
When you say Santa Barbara, I'm going to need you to start saying it like they did on the
Santa Barbara.
Santa Barbara? Okay, I didn't know because I never watched that. I
actually probably did. And the fact that I pulled A. Martinez out of my butt, that was his big thing.
Yeah, that's not that
he was an actor.
What you don't know,
like an author.
What you don't know, audience, is Joe has I messed up the name already. A. Martinez fan wall over here.
You all would know him from which Chucky movie was he in? The second to the last one, the reboot with Fiona Dourif.
Yeah.
He plays the priest.
It's not Curse.
It's Curse of Chucky, I think.
Yeah.
I can never keep him straight.
Because the last one was Cult of Chucky. He's in Curse of Chucky. He's the priest. Anyway. So you went to college.
Yeah.
You went to another college.
Multiple times.
Which, did you go to any other institutions you'd like to give a shout out to?
I did, yeah. College of the Canyons in Valencia, California. Thank you for that one class.
So why were you bouncing? Were you just chasing men?
That's a really good guess for chicks that age. We're so bad about that.
Okay, I went to Morehead State.
Yeah.
My roommate was from the Bronx. Now, why was a guy from the Bronx?
Yeah, why?
Why else would you?
Chick. Yeah.
And guess what happened?
Broke up with him.
Dumped him.
Yeah, but then he's
for her drug dealer 3 months into the semester.
Yes. Yeah. No, it's a classic tale.
It's
very Shakespearean.
It's very Shakespearean.
Now I want to write that story.
Blow with a double entendre.
Yes. Yes.
I want to that needs to be a good.
It's not gonna work, John.
How old are your kids?
I moved on.
They are 7, and my daughter will be 9 on the 30th. So.
Okay,
7 to 9.
You've not hit the terrifying teenage years, but I mean, good luck and everything. But yeah, that's the main thing. Is when they're a certain age, you're like, man, I'd never ditch out for a chick, man. I got my life plan, and then the switch flips, and you're like, bye. We hope you survive this.
Well, I think the other side.
I don't think I ever ditched out for a woman. I kicked Chad out of my room one time to have sex with a woman. But
that's really fair.
I think it's extremely fair for really man or woman.
He should have left. What kind of a code is that you don't pick up on?
I hope Chad listens to this. Out. Yeah, I don't.
Well, Chad, I'm sorry, man. You're not here to defend yourself, but seriously.
What's the other side of that, though?
We do iTunes and SoundCloud. Chad's much more apt to listen to us than actually watch us.
Okay, so don't bother pointing at the camera.
I rarely do either.
Okay.
Move on. I'm joking. I watch it one time.
Do you think though? Wouldn't it have been even weirder if he would have stayed? I think that would have been in a line that
I don't know that it was going to stop anything.
Well, that's what I mean. But can you imagine then the awkward conversations you would have to have with Chad? I don't know.
Remember that thing on your... Oh, let's not talk about it. Yeah, because at that point you
might want to see a doctor. I'm just... Yeah.
So why were you bouncing? No joke. Were you just finding yourself or moving with your family?
With family mostly. We went to California because of a family member out there. Then we went to Tennessee because of being with family there. And then I just went home to Kentucky because, Tennessee was cool. But I missed Kentucky.
No one ever says that.
I know, unless you're living in Tennessee and you have to listen to Rocky Top at 500. I think someone.
But you'll always be.
Please don't. No, Joe, please don't.
No. Hold it in, Joe.
No,
hold it in.
I hate it.
You ever seen a fat man explode? Imagine Big Trouble in Little China with the swelling. Only it's going to be much more gooier down here.
Unless you sing it. Well, do it into a pillow or something.
Or just hold a pillow until you feel the need to stop.
My 2 manly, fluffy pillows. Yes. Anyway, moving right along. So you just kept bouncing and bouncing. I'm just curious because I'm always fascinated. I know James is too, and James is much more of the author geek out of us. But how someone who wants to write, how much more interesting they are when they have lived a life rather than just went and got their MFA and wrote. There's so many great authors who said, just go out and live your life.
And that's, I mean, I'd imagine that's part of it. Although I'd say getting your MFA can be living your life, depending on everything you do.
Well, I think this is the same thing. Of course, I'm a failed filmmaker, but I think there's a lot to be said about.
In all fairness, you failed a lot of other stuff too.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Thank you for making me feel better.
I want to make sure you stay grounded.
Don't worry. The Walker takes care of that.
I didn't even read it that way, but
you're not.
Still, Patreon's coming. You still can give us money to see what you can do with one of my holes. Surgical holes.
I'm not sure what the
surgical hole.
That was, but
guests get to do it for free.
Oh, that's okay. There are benefits.
There's benefits to my surgery holes.
I'm gonna be an adult.
But I think there's a lot about getting out there and not only knowing. Yes, there's the filmmaking that the actual. I'm trying to think, not the art, but the actually nuts and bolts of this is what you do, right? Like you're a craftsman and this is your craft.
Yeah.
And then writing's your craft. But I think you're a much more interesting person when you have a lived life. So did you know you wanted to write? Were you writing? What was the deal?
I
feel like I've taken over from James. No. James, you can jump in.
I will later. Go ahead.
This is a tag team.
Okay.
I now need to sing tag team songs that nobody remembers.
As long as it's not Rocky Top. I don't care. You sing.
No, Joe.
No. Oh,
when I get there water on him, I had a bottle of water. I'll douse it.
It's
if he
right
goes
there.
Too far.
It's right there if you need more.
Yeah, if he goes too far, I'll douse him.
All right. What's going on?
No, I probably was always writing to a certain extent. My mom's a writer, so
What has she written?
She has written. There's probably about 15 of them. She wrote a lot of yes. She started out. She had a series of 4 sci-fi, like alien mystery type novels, and then she wrote Satan's Lambs. I think was the next one. Always been my favorite. I love being in like 5th grade and being like, my mom wrote a book called Satan's Lambs, and it's just, but it's always my favorite. It's really good. And I, if I do say so myself, well,
Satan's Lambs. Can you get a copy of it?
I think so. I know you can get like e-copies of it now because like this was back before ebooks, but then recently they've
What was your mother's pen name?
Well, it's Lynn Hightower. So. Yeah, not so much of a pen name, slap the S on there, but yeah.
LSH.
Yes, let's go by our initials and everything.
Absolutely, that's awesome. Okay, so Lynn Hightower, almost said the Devil's Backbone.
That's
a Del Toro film. So sorry, the Devil's Sheep, you say?
Yes.
Well, and kind of jumping in here. What was it like growing up? You talked about when you were, 5 years old, being able to say, my mom wrote the Devil's Sheep.
Was she a full-time author? Was she able to make a living that way?
Yes, yeah. She actually, amazing. And that's it's one of those things like I grew up with, and I'm like, whatever, my mom's a writer. But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, seriously? You single mom supported 3 teenage kids.
Oh, I didn't know she was a single mom.
Yeah. She's, my parents got divorced when I was about 11.
Me too.
Oh, yeah?
I was 11.
It was a good year for that, apparently.
Summer of 89.
Hi, you.
Yeah. If you're listening on iTunes or SoundCloud and you're a fan of the show, Ash the cat has attacked.
Yeah, and so my voice goes up several decibels. Hello.
She did the same thing when my child was down there.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, at least that's what the mother says.
That's inevitable.
But anyway, so your mom was a cool writer.
Yeah.
And she was a single mom.
Yeah.
So did you see both parents?
Oh, yeah. Dad, he moved like 2.5 blocks away. So, I mean, yeah.
So you had them both?
Yeah. Definitely had both parents. But it's, like from a financial standpoint, I know she was the one supporting us in that. But it's actually partly why, when I was in high school and everything, a lot of my teachers would be like, oh, you're going to write like your mom. And I'm like, fuck no.
Yeah.
Look at those deadlines. It's bullshit. It's homework for the rest of your life. It's, it's uncertainty, which I'm not big on.
This is so fascinating. See, my parents split up when I was 11. I lived in a rock throwing distance. They lived in the rock throwing distance of one another.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, keep going. It's fascinating.
Yeah, just weird, all these little
weird little things. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Keep going. So, homework. So you didn't even enjoy writing. You didn't write short stories or poems or stories for Mother's Day where you killed off your mother. I hear Tarantino did that for his mother.
I never killed off Mom. Whatever she wants to say, she absolutely killed me off a number of times. in really evil ways. But I was probably a really annoying teenager. But like whatever.
Yeah, but you all are.
Yeah, I mean all of us are. But and for a while there, she was putting out like a book a year. And there would always be a girl my age who was murdered. And it would just like graduate as I got older. And I'm like, Mom, she's like, it's not you, Laurel. And I'm like, dude, you described my dresser drawer when they're going through it. Like that was my tangled, bra or whatever that they were looking. This is horrible. You're putting that out there. She's, it's not you, Laurel. So now I can go back and say that if I kill her off. But,
I'm just trying to think of a really half-assed name for you that she would have
I was say, this was obviously Slorel. That's not your name.
Yes, Laurel.
Laurel half building.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's obviously completely unrelated.
Laurel short building.
Yes. Or, as all the kids.
It's just me.
Tower, Low Tower.
They called you Low Tower?
Well, yeah, we're short people. So
you're not that short, are you?
I'm 5'3". We're not very tall. So
no. Well, okay, I'm 6'1", but with a walker, I'm only about 5'8".
When you're leaning over it, yeah.
When I'm leaning over it. Yeah. Okay, so you didn't want to write.
No, I liked writing. I think like my whole 8th grade year, I wrote this god awful book, really, really terrible, mostly based on the X-Files, I would think. At the time, but it's what I did because I didn't pay attention at school at all. So that was.
So you weren't a good student.
I was in most anything except for math, and that was what annoyed me is that I had to pay attention, and that was just bullshit.
Yeah, James and I are the same way. Although James is better at math than I am. Honest to goodness, I took a community college once. I started out at community college, so I was a horrible student. But I went back one summer just to take the math course that I needed, college algebra. And I convinced the professor to let me write research papers on mathematicians to substitute scores just so I could get a C in college algebra, by the way.
No, that's brilliant. Well done.
Yeah, but I promised her never to take another math class.
That's a win-win.
I did okay. Middle management. I'm director of advising for the flagship university, but it's still middle management.
But you're also you're not you're still making films.
We failed at that one 3 or 4 years ago too, the last one. But that's beside the point. We'll talk about that when we do.
I won't give you my pep talk.
When we do drugs after this. I'm joking. So you were watching the X-Files. James wants us once again. If you have questions, anytime now, or just sit there and smolder. Yeah, that's not it. So, what were you consuming? And what I mean by that is pop culture.
Yeah, and that was going to be one of my questions. Obviously, you read some of
the ones that written out.
No, but talking about what you were consuming. But obviously, your mother was a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I mean, as far as pop culture wise, what were you watching? TVs, what were you reading?
Books,
man,
music.
Like at that age, I know my brother was really horrified that I only listened to Sheena Easton or something. So at one point he sat me down very angrily and made me listen to Nirvana and Metallica. So
you hadn't listened to it yet?
I hadn't. No, it's sad. It's sad.
Why? I'm turning this off, by the way, and I forgot to turn off my cell phone. I apologize.
No, that's cool.
I'm a D-bag.
Something could happen. Something important.
No. Have you met me? Nothing important ever happens to me. You are the most important thing that's happened to me today. Keep going.
I don't know if I can remember what I was. I mean, I know the X-Files.
Well, yeah. Let's talk about. So you don't know about music. What do you have a favorite band or anything
now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually. I mean, if I had to say band, I love Pink Floyd, but the David Gilmour iteration of it.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like Roger Waters, but I'm a huge fan of David Gilmour. And then a lot of the artists I like are kind of so. I love Amos Lee. I love Gillian Welch. Really did totally right, exactly. So my husband's like, you listen to depressing bullshit, is what he said. And in some ways he's kind of
my favorite band's the Rolling Stones, so I'm a horrible human being. Keep going.
No, see, the Rolling Stones, people know who that is. That's good.
Yeah, but I should know more.
Amos Lee is really
when it comes to music, really I should know more. There's two things that, and he's right. I've been criticized for it before. I should know more about music, and I probably should know more about visual art.
Well, I was about to say, and my critique of Joe is always visual art. Yeah. My critique of Joe is always try something from a recent decade.
I've tried. Have you heard of the Lady Gagas?
I have.
Or that T Swizzle. She sure does lay down a good beat. I don't know. I couldn't name
If
it.
you don't like it, you can just shake it off. I'm gonna.
Do you know Facebook reminded me that I sort of accidentally predicted that? Like
Shaking it
years
off?
before, years before Shake It Off, I posted something like that said like, Taylor Swift, I liked you at first because you wrote your own music, but you're kind of juvenile, and just because someone doesn't like you doesn't make them a bully. Just shake it off. And then it did like the Facebook memory, and I was like, that's the worst thing I could have predicted. Like nothing else, nothing useful.
Well,
just Taylor
maybe
Swift's
she's
next.
following you and stole the idea.
Yeah, I was about to say.
In that case, which angry song is about me? Because it's not like I made a nice post.
Well, and that that's it too. That's my only thing is it seems like her inspiration, speaking to someone that writes, always seems to be people have wronged me, and I'm like, people have wronged you in that they went, listen, this isn't working out. We need to both move on. They haven't wronged you.
Everyone is someone's villain.
Yeah, I was gonna say they haven't wronged you. Like
That's encouraging.
Here's a camp that you have to work in until you die. Now, I would listen to Taylor Swift.
Yes, please tell me more, Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
about this camp.
Everyone is their own protagonist, and you are always going to be someone's villain.
Well, yeah.
You're also totally someone's comic relief, and minor failed love and all of these things. Yeah.
What do you mean minor? I'm okay with a failed love.
If there's a protagonist and then their lead.
I'm really worried.
Oh my God, no! I'm the Dom DeLuise of all these.
Wouldn't you worry if you were the main, like if there's somebody out there right now that you knew in high school that's like got a shrine to you, Joe? Wouldn't that be a little bit weird? Like Joe.
Yes, but also encouraging for somehow.
Take compliments where you can get them.
I finally made an impact on something. Because I don't feel. I know Christy doesn't feel any way like that. So.
Tell me about your shrine. I want to know about your shrine.
Tell me about your shrine.
Send me some pictures of the shrine.
I love me some Joe too.
See, that's the difference.
What's your favorite part of me?
Right.
What do you like the best?
I'm fair to middling at best on me, so I don't need. It's like
we're getting off topic.
Anyway,
so what were you watching in high school? When did you graduate high school? 2000?
Yeah, 2000. Like the main thing that comes to mind, I guess, is like Nicktoons, which I don't know if I was watching that, but it's like
That's what you're watching in high school?
Man, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what generationally
what have you been doing all this time?
No, probably watching shit that was way too young for me, but also reading shit that was entirely too old for me. Because
we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
All right, well, screw it.
No, I was going to say, Nicktoons, I was about to say, though, because, Nicktoons, pick a couple
original stuff.
Yeah, like what is the original
Rocco's
stuff? Rocco's Modern Life.
A lot of that was really very adult.
When he was working at the sex hotline, and I was like, I have a younger sister 6 years younger than me, and all of that went right over her head.
Which was why it was so well designed.
Yeah.
It appealed to like this wide range of
inappropriateness. There was this. I mean, there was some horrible adult humor on there. I was like,
what's the joke with the milking machine and who was the
Heifer?
Oh yeah, Heifer, yeah.
And then there was just, there was some body humor in there that I was just like, okay, well, that happened.
I remember they said, everybody get on your knees for the doggy style bull ride at one point. And that was a moment when I was like, wait a second.
But what's really funny about that, I read an interview recently, oddly enough, because they just put the complete series out on Blu-ray, I think.
Nice.
And that they did an interview with the creator, and he actually said, I wish we were known more for what we did and not for what we got away with. But he said the funniest meeting they ever had with Nick, because he said Nick used to be, you get away with anything. Because they were just so glad to have original
Ren
content.
and Stimpy.
Well, and that's
Ren
what
and Stimpy's probably true.
They said Ren and Stimpy started, and he said the only thing that they ever got pushback on was the episode that involved Heifer selling his soul or something, and they had hell. And they had the devil portrayed a certain way, and they had to edit the devil.
That was what someone got up in arms about.
They had to edit the devil because they said they had to make the devil look nicer, and the creator went, so we have to tone down the devil. And he said the only other thing, so they retitled the episode. It was going to say Heifer Goes to Hell or something, but it's Heifer Goes to Heck. And it was their entire smack back at Nicktoons going, we can have a character facing eternal damnation. And you don't have a problem with that.
Why'd you whisper damnation?
His kids.
Yeah.
They're going to hear it?
They're going to hear this.
No, right, but I curse under my breath, or like I say, like I bleep myself out.
How old is your kid, though?
He's 11 months. Well, oh God, no! I was 23 when I met my stepson. That was out the window. I cussed.
Well, you've been with your husband a long time.
Oh yeah. I met Arthur when he was 10.
And how old is he now?
He's 23.
23.
Yeah,
he's a man.
No, he's totally a man. He cusses more than I do. And he's also like he's grown up. He's one of the coolest people I know. He's really awesome.
That's awesome.
It is.
Good.
He's a cool dude.
Good.
So that's the other thing. They totally come out as people on the other side just when you're
So
just
your husband and his son could have had kids at the same time.
They could have. I'm really glad they didn't.
Oh, I am too.
Like, this would have been awkward.
I'm 40. I was 39
Yeah,
when I was born, so no, I totally
Well,
get it.
David
I'm old,
was
Dad.
David was 48 and has recently turned 49. So
Oh, you like them old, do you?
yeah, actually, yeah.
Well, and you know what's funny about that though is you're still not the oldest father I know. I met somebody that had a father. Or became
I don't
a father
know that I'm close, James.
when they were 58, and I was just like 58, and you're becoming a dad because I'm doing the math of. I drink a lot of caffeine. I'm trying to make it to 70 on a good day.
Was it first time dad at 58? Yeah. That's kind of beautiful.
Well, and the thing,
that's really nice.
and the backstory of it.
But a guy gets to do that.
Right.
I'd say, and without giving away the gentleman's identity, he was a professional, and he got everything he wanted professionally, was at the top of his game, and then it was like, oh, what else do I have to do? I know I have a kid, and the kid will always have. Because my kids don't have.
Yeah, they got to make it themselves. You know, you don't want to spoil them.
Well, and
you don't want to spoil them.
Everybody's like, well, you're big into education. You're going to do. Nope, they're going to take out loans. They're going to be in debt till they die, just like the rest of them.
Not to change the subject, but we did invite a guest over. Would you like to talk about her a little?
Well, I was going to say, which actually, bouncing back to what we were talking about, you were saying you're reading way above.
So what were you reading?
And, you know, that was the thing. Mom actually... They never really put any kind of limitations on what we read or honestly what we watched. Like we would watch horror movies that were probably, and I never remember being ever bothered by it, except for Natural Born Killers. Really, we were too young to watch that. But
because I'm 4 years older than you. Oh no. Yeah, I'm 4 years older than you.
Yeah, because I'm 36. Yeah.
So I probably watched it at a different time. To me, it was revolutionary.
Well, and in some ways, I feel like it was, but
you know
some
what
of
I mean?
it was, yeah.
Tarantino was just about to ready to blow up. And Tarantino wrote the screenplay.
True. Okay, yeah. I have a hard time placing that sort of stuff chronologically. So.
Well, this is
what you, this
can't
is
do college algebra.
This is, hey, you know.
But I can bullshit and maneuver. Yeah. So anyway. Yeah, so Natural Born Killers bothered you. I can see that if you're 4 years younger.
Yeah, not like terribly. I think it bothered my little sister a little more. She's 3 years younger than me.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Yeah. So now that we're back after that wonderful commercial, there's no commercial.
There could be.
You could get a sponsor. I'm already investing in this. You could get a sponsor, sir.
And maybe you'll get a movie deal.
Okay, I get where you're laughing now. Okay.
Hollywood's gonna come calling.
Hey, when it does happen,
money is in auctions.
Right.
Yeah.
Auction that book. Keep paying you for the option.
Right.
Never really make the movie.
Yeah.
And you just keep cashing that check
that is totally
for an option to buy.
That's
it's
totally
pretty much like
works.
what we call a promise ring.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. about as effective too. Yes.
I'm assuming you know about most of that because you're an author.
Well, I know most. I know most
author.
It sounds so pretentious, which is also part of why it is. God, it is so hard to self-promote on this stuff.
Oh no,
so
it's tough, and it's the reason why we've not. And I keep saying we're going to do Patreon, I haven't done it, and the reason being is because we all make a decent living, but this is actually expensive. So we have to pay SoundCloud to host and all this other stuff, pay for the equipment, all that. Yeah. And then don't get me wrong, it doesn't break me up, and I would do it anyway. But it'd be nice to get a little bit back, to upgrade things, to be able to do other things. Stop it, anyway. Right?
Yes.
And it's tough. I'm okay selling swag, but for some odd reason, doing a Patreon or something like that just bothers the hell out of me.
It's hard. I don't know why it feels so. I don't know. It just feels so pretentious. It's like a lot of the people that I work with didn't know, that I had a book coming out until. Well, I mean, they do now because I had them review my contract, and I think one day I ran around kind of squealing. So at some point it kind of became, and they were so nice. They threw me a little surprise party and all that. So on my release date and all that stuff. So, but yeah, it's hard to, it's honestly hard to even post something on Facebook and say, Could you please like my Facebook page? That'd be great.
No.
Could you please like my anybody?
And Bonehead. And what we'll do is Bonehead will blow that up for you.
That'd be really good
for all 20 people that pay attention.
Hey
to
man,
Bonehead.
that would increase it by like I can't do math, but maybe 20-40%.
There you go. There you go. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. Yeah. Now I'm okay with it on social media, but I just sucked it up and then I just go with it. And because I moderate at Scarefest and at Comic-Con.
Yes. Yeah.
Scarefest, we'll get a teeny, and Comic-Con we'll get a bigger bump because the crowd's a little bit bigger. That's not an indication or anything on anybody else. But I moderated at Comic-Con. I bet 2 years before I even announced who I was before the panel.
Really?
I just entertained them. One year, a little old lady, there's 3 of them, and then they actually, last year, they come so often, they actually made me a shirt, and they all wore them. We all had matching shirts at Kick-Ass Grannies.
Nice. So you were one of the Kick-Ass Grannies.
I am one of the Kick-Ass Grannies.
You are.
And they're lovely, lovely, lovely souls, and they've met my son. But and it wasn't them, but it was another person that was either near them or next to them, raised their hand one Sunday and said, "Oh, aren't you one of the comic book men?" And I thought, have you ever watched Comic Book Men, the show? Do you know Kevin Smith?
Yes, yeah. No,
I thought she meant Brian Brian, no, the other guy. But she thought it was Kevin Smith, which is, by the way, happens
that's great.
But it didn't occur to me to say, by the way, I'm Joe Louis Bonehead. last year and a half I do. By God, right up Joe Louis Bonehead. Here's some cards.
This is why you say welcome to Bonehead.
Welcome to Bonehead. We have some friends though who actually have a cut of all the times I've said it, and they'll play it in a loop and laugh their ass off. They work at Scarefest, and if you walk into the room, welcome to Bonehead. They made me self-conscious.
That's also some promotion, though. Them playing that.
It is.
Puts you in the cultural lexicon.
So, back to you. What Natural Born Killers? Do you have a favorite movie? Do you have some things that have influenced you?
Yeah, I mean, as far as it's so hard to say a favorite movie because it kind of depends. It's Christmas time. Freaking love the Muppet Christmas Carol. That's what's on repeat right now.
Yes,
at my house. Yeah. No.
My father actually has an obsession with
That's because of your 9 months. How old's your child?
11 months.
11.
Yeah.
That's because of your 11-month-old, right?
I'd love to claim that, but no, it's actually on me.
I mean, Michael Caine.
I have the seasons of the Muppets over there, and I own. Look, almost half the top shelf is Great Muppet Caper, the Muppet Movie, Seasons of Muppet, next to the Dark Crystal.
But the Muppets are very, as we talked about Rocco for a minute. Muppets also have some good lines in them.
Do you guys ever watch Meet the Feebles?
Okay. Oh my God. Have you ever watched Bad Taste? Have you ever watched Dead Alive, which is actually called Brain Dead in the rest of the world? Have you ever seen a little movie called Lord of the Rings? No, I don't know who the fuck Peter Jackson is.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't trying to be the person.
Do you see this? Do you see this? You're raised in the 90s. Talk to it.
Here's the thing. I'm used to people not knowing what that is. But
that's because you hang out with a-holes. No, you're not hanging around with the right a-hole.
I was say it's a different kind.
I was going to say
I used to have it on my old computer where, do you got any smack? With the whole line of it goes down all the drugs. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, is that from? Because I've only watched it once and it's really disturbing. But I mean, it was one of those things where I was like, So it's like I feel like they took the Muppets that were already a little bit on the edge there, and they just.
Meet the Feebles.
That was a little bit of a wrong. I still don't, and I think he actually did a fantastic job. I don't know what your opinion is of Lord of the Rings stuff.
I love Lord of the Rings.
But I mean, I still can't believe someone watched that.
Did you see what's next to Ghostbusters?
Hi, I'm super observant.
You realize these are all original one-sheet theatrical. Hold on, let me do that pissing contest. These are all one original one-sheet theatrical movie posters. And if you see a signature, I met that motherfucker.
Well done. See, there's your self promotion right there on your.
Yeah, you can talk about his movie posters. You can talk about your movie posters. Bonehead.
Oh yeah, there's a lot. We could do this when we're not doing the show.
That's a really good point. Sure. Hang on, I'm just going to get up and
we can get the walker out. I can walk you around.
Slowly walk around and show you all the posters, yeah.
Well, talking about, so we mentioned what you watched and things like that, but I actually have a question that I always, Do you watch stuff, or do you have noise on, or do you listen to music when you write?
When I write, I listen to music. But used to before I had a kid. Now,
Well,
like I get like 8 minutes at night to like silently,
Yeah.
do something.
You get the silent keyboard.
That was
where
the
you're like,
toughest. When I tell people about adjusting to a child, James was way ahead of the game for me. And I'm actually, out of my best friends, I was the last one to have a child. I was the last one to get one through by the goalie.
Yeah.
So that was the hardest. There's the two hardest things for me was, and a little bit of it was writing. But honestly, is I read every night before I go to bed.
Mm.
And when you're trying to get them that first, you're in the middle of it. Has he slept through the night yet?
I think like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Not consecutive at all.
No.
How long?
A year.
A year?
Right at 13 months.
That's not a year. That's a month longer than a year.
Yeah.
He's also not good at math.
Welcome to the suck.
I mean, worth it. 100% worth it.
Is it?
It is.
People say that to me.
It is.
And I love the little bastard. But I always say he's amazing. And I go, yeah. And it's a George Carlin line if you're a fan of George Carlin.
Yeah.
I don't grade unfinished work. Come back to me when he's 20.
We'll talk when he's
and we'll tell you what I feel about him. When he's 40 years old, Daddy will give an opinion. What have you done, son? So anyway, I love him. But it was that and the ability to, because I'm such a film geek, go to movies.
Yeah. And that's,
because she likes to go too. So it's not like I could just skate on out for 3 hours.
Yeah. Have you guys been to one? Did you like gotten a babysitter? Or?
Well, babysitter only once or twice. The 2 Star Wars things, I have to make time for that, of course, because otherwise they'd take away my cards.
Yeah.
And leaving him in daycare for a couple of hours, taking a half day. I've done that maybe more than once.
Yeah. But that's kind of why you have the
feel bad. I felt so bad about it.
I know, because you're
this upcoming Christmas break. I'm off for a week. He's going to daycare 2 or 3 days of that.
You'll learn not to feel bad about it.
I don't feel bad.
You lose the guilt.
Well, because the thing about it is like my son is very introverted, and I now realize he needs that socialization.
My son loves to go, and it's fine to leave. So it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But so you until the kid, you did listen to music.
Yes.
What did you mentioned some of the artists you listened to before?
Yeah.
Is that what you were listening to?
Yeah, some of it. I pick up actually a lot of like, this is where like some of our big musical disagreements happen with my husband and I. We can't listen to a lot of the same stuff, but I picked up the David Gilmour thing from him. I had not really listened to that much, but I listened to a lot of one-offs.
Because he's 108.
Right.
Go home and tell him I said that.
Yes, I will.
So I was hanging out with these 2 guys and we were videotaping that.
And they said, you're old.
Your man is so old. When did you find a 40-year-old? James, you 38?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
Or a 38-year-old. They're so young.
You're both too young.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Keep going. You were saying about David Gilmour.
Oh, right.
And his girls.
And his chicks, yeah. All his young chicks. I don't know who
David Gilmour girls.
The David Gilmour.
I'd watch that show.
I'd have a good soundtrack.
This episode
probably would.
It would have a really good soundtrack.
On this episode of David Gilmour Girls.
Groupie number 7.
Bonehead has no groupies. Keep going.
Mostly, I mean, like one-off stuff like that I'll pick up from like, I don't know. I watched Blacklist for a couple seasons and really had to stop because I just could not stand that main character. Love James Spader. But they had a lot of really great songs in there. So would pick up some cool stuff off that. Weirdly, I don't know if you guys watched Flashpoint, the Canadian.
I know what it is, but I don't watch it.
Yeah, that was really good, and they had a lot of really good songs on that. So my husband would categorize it all as like deeply depressing singer-songwriter stuff, which maybe is accurate, but it's kind of like mood music for me. And then when I'm writing like the real horror stuff, I try to get like more Hellraiser soundtrack. I love the Hellraiser soundtrack. I love Hellraiser.
Yes, Joe, you've got a poster.
Yeah, okay. Nice. Okay. All right. I want to ask you guys this question.
Clive Barker.
Fucking A.
I'll tell you my Clive Barker story when the episode's over.
Okay. Yes, I want to hear this. But I also want to know, okay, so like if you had, like setting aside what your favorite horror movie is, if you had to like go get a beer with a horror character, mine has always been Pinhead.
Oh, with a villain? I wouldn't want to be with any of them.
Really?
Well, they're murderers.
But what if they're not after you? You're like,
no. Charlie Manson may be a charming motherfucker, but I'm not going to hang out with him.
Fuck that guy. But I mean, like, let's say, like, Mr. Myers, I admire your work. You know.
Oh, if I had to have a beer with, obviously it wouldn't be Michael Myers.
They're
that
not
would be boring as hell.
I know he'd just sit there and fucking sit behind his mask. It sucks, but no.
Or Jason.
No, and so you really can't. You know, Freddy, you put you off your food a little bit. If you had to.
Yes.
But I don't know. For me, it's always been Pinhead. But
I think, to be honest, thinking about
question, I guess I never thought of it.
I would have to go. Let's go Full Tilt Boogie, and I'm trying to think of a version of it. But I mean, I would think let's go the devil. I mean, I'm trying to think of,
which devil.
I don't know. I almost think, and it's not overly a great movie in some ways. But is it Viggo Mortensen who plays the devil in The Prophecy?
The Prophecy.
Ooh, okay.
Because I like that line that he has.
That's
the line,
good.
"You don't know what it's like down there." And I would like to be. Well, tell me about it.
Yeah, I'd like to expand on this theme.
Because The Prophecy is not a perfectly made film, but there's so many lines in it. I love Christopher Walken's entire thing going.
Oh,
the reason you have that is because
that's beautiful.
And I'm just like, I don't care who says that line to me. If my daughter walked up to me and said that line to me, I'd be like, "You creepy. Get the hell away from your dad."
Especially if she does it in a British accent. Nothing creepier than a small British child.
Oh, right.
You're all going to die down here.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't remember much about the first Resident Evil movie, but that female, the little girl, British computer.
You've asked me a question that I'm having a hard time answering.
And maybe
because what it is, I so associate the actor to some of those roles.
Yeah.
I have met, and I've been fortunate enough to meet a lot of them. So I want to meet the people I haven't met. So when you ask me that question, I go, do I really want to meet Dracula? Or do I want to meet Bela Lugosi and Christopher Lee? Do I really want to meet the Witchfinder General? No, I really want to meet Vincent Price. Do you know what I mean? I could just go through things.
Well, and that may just be more a result of, like, the way that you see this kind of stuff. Like when you...
Does it have to be in a movie?
No, it doesn't have to be a movie.
Have you ever read Desperation by Stephen King?
Yes.
That's actually one of my favorite Stephen King books that nobody ever brings up. Tak or Tak, T-A-K.
Yeah.
Because underground.
You would chill with him?
I just think it's interesting.
Yeah.
But and now this is, I mean...
To live eons, him or Pennywise. Because they both are similar in the way of they've been here since the primordial ooze, so to speak. And
Pennywise is good because he's a complete douchebag.
And he's not from this earth.
Right.
If you read the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of Lovecraftian.
It's very Lovecraftian in the history of it.
But do you think the reason that, and this is what I've often
what little is explained about him, you realize he landed here a long time.
But with Pinhead, with Pennywise or Tak or Tak or whatever,
it's T-A-K. I always say Tak.
I always thought it was Tak, but I don't know.
It could be Tak, could be Tak.
With the devil, I think what's fascinating about all of these horror characters that stick with me is, I don't know, it just seems like they're doing a job. Like, and that's what I've always said about. If people, like, this is one of the things that once got us, our boss edited us off of our wall once because we ended up having a philosophical conversation about the devil. And I was like, if you compare the devil to George Washington, we celebrate Washington. What did he do? I don't like the way this is going. I'm going to overthrow the power.
What's perspective?
I'm going to do. And then all of a sudden, George Washington's a hero.
And the devil,
And the flip side of it is the devil was, you're going against an omnipotent being who created you. You have to know you're going to lose. And so it's the idea the idea of sympathy for the devil. There you go.
I've never heard of that.
Your Rolling Stone reference for the
Who are these stones that do roll?
But no, you brought up an interesting question, and it's what I always think about is because, like, Pinhead is just...
I think Pinhead is similar to my answer in the sense of Pinhead has been around for a long, long time.
And he has...
Depending on what you look at. Depending on sequels, none of it makes any sense.
He has so many great lines, too.
There's great lines, but there's ancient knowledge.
Yeah. There's ancient knowledge, but
I'm actually really attracted to ancient knowledge.
Well, and it's the idea of the puzzle box gets me.
There's rules. There's rules to. He always seems so reasonable to me.
Yeah.
It's like stop opening the puzzle box. You can see him just like having his beard.
When you do that, he makes him sound like a bureaucrat.
No, I don't think he's a bureaucrat. I think he's no.
Oh my God!
No.
I now know the movie. The movie
Let's
we have
do
to
Bonehead does bureaucratic
No.
Hellraiser. You didn't fill in the 10-9, Ashley Lawrence. I don't even remember what her name is in the movie.
I want to literally.
Oh, the 10-9.
We need to do Robot Chicken.
GPS report.
I'd apply for that.
Is blank.
Like I would
We've got so many reports to show you. Hold on. The paperwork will only be legendary, even in hell. Oh, the DMV.
You know, and you talk about the puzzle box now. I'm also thinking because my son's obsessed with Pokemon.
Thanks,
I'm
Laurel, for showing up. We haven't got some damn book yet.
Can we do one episode of Pokemon where it's like we switched out Ash's normal Pokeball with Pikachu inside with this puzzle box? Let's see what happens. I saw a pinhead.
Yes. Yeah, I want to see that.
I will watch that. Hey, if Detective Pikachu checks off, part 2, Pikachu in Hell.
Let's do it.
Doug Bradley, get him on the phone.
Yes.
Where are we at on time, James? Did you reset the time?
I did. We are still, we've got about 12 minutes.
I'm not trying to kill the conversation, but I really want to get to some of you didn't tell us the books you were reading.
Oh, well.
That were way too old for you.
I know there was something I picked up that, like, because I remember being about 8 years old. I used to read upside down in my dad's recliner, and, like, my head would just be, like, on, the little, like,
yeah.
But, and I was reading something, and I remember looking at me and saying, what does get laid mean? And my parents kind of looked at each other, and I could tell they were having this internal conversation of, like, maybe we should put limits on it. I don't know, something to do with vampires. I don't remember the names of a lot of these books, but there was a lot of, like, really, and I know I was reading a lot of the Stephen King stuff, again, in, like, elementary school,
Were you always interested or attracted to horror?
Yes. Yeah, because when I wasn't reading stuff on my parents' shelves, and I can't emphasize how cool it was that my parents had, like, just so many books. I loved that. There was always something to read. Yeah, that's
I really worry about. I don't worry about it, but I think it's important for my son.
Yeah,
it's
just
something.
to have the access to.
Yeah.
But it's we would go to the library and just anything that had a little ghost on the spine, I would just go rolling through and just pull them all off the shelves. Always loved ghost stories.
Oh, and do you think, who is it? Max Brooks that has the line, "People date comedy."
People date comedy, they marry horror.
Because
Max Brooks, who wrote World War Z, son of Mel Brooks.
Nice.
Because that was his line to his father, right?
People date comedy, but they marry horror.
But
it's true.
I think what's funny about it, because I was the
someone who's obsessed with both.
I was the most scared child on the planet. Anything.
And as a man, he's pissed himself in the middle of several episodes. Chad got a little angry there.
Lost my but it's true.
This couch is made of rubber.
It's true because Halloween was always my favorite holiday. Oddly enough, even though horror movies scared me. But I remember I was second, third grade, and for some reason, again, I always grew up around books, and I still argue nothing scarier than the Bible. But
accurate revelations.
But there was one, and I
opened the bureaucratic cemetery.
Oh, but first I had
your paperwork will be legendary. Even in
But
hell.
I remember there was this ghost story, and if anybody knows this
somebody's
out there,
steal that from us, that. Right?
Yeah.
And somebody's going to have a few extra bucks.
We copyright that shit.
Yeah,
they copyright it. Actually, work for an IP attorney. We can do this.
Sounds good.
But I mean, it was. I was in second or third grade, and I read a story about. It was a short book that I got out of the elementary school library about a ghost of a Civil War guy that was poisoned, and these two kids found him.
Found the ghost?
Yeah, found the ghost, and he wouldn't leave him alone. And I just remember, like, that is burned into my... So if anybody knows what that is, let me know, because I want to read it now, because I'm sure I'll go, whatever.
Well, did you read the Elvin Schwartz ones? The scary stories to tell?
Oh, yeah. And the original artwork.
The original
make a movie artwork. For that? Isn't there one in production? I'll go check that out.
But is it...
I know the books.
Because they
remember the art.
I remember the art somewhat. I don't have although I should, I'm at the right age. I don't have an attachment to it like some people do.
Well, I just remember our teacher for some reason.
The scariest stories ever told, volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had all of those as a kid.
I remember a teacher for some reason thought it'd be a good idea to read from that to read out loud. I think it was just, maybe this will get kids to read. And she read the one about the spider with the eggs and bursting out of the face.
And the drawing on that.
Yeah, and she literally goes, I can't finish this. And I was like, oh, no. you're gonna. I mean, even like it. Yeah, I was like, no. We have to finish this. Like the entire class was like, no, you're finishing this book, and you're showing us the art, and then our parents are going to call you. But that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, my parents wouldn't have called.
No, my parents. That's what my parents. And that's the thing that I don't understand. You kids today. Like, I can't imagine my parents calling for much. It would have to be, okay, you branded my son on the forehead, and we need to have a talk.
And you spelled it wrong. It's my big problem. You know, you need to get that shit right.
Yeah. I mean, it would have to be like that. That would be. But that was the upside too. My parents were much like yours. It was my parents let me read comic books as a kid because it was as long as you're reading, and we're not destitute. We will.
So, do you have a favorite novel? Do you have a novel that influenced you the most? Do you have a writer that influenced you the most?
I love Shirley Jackson.
Shirley Jackson's the lottery. Sorry, it's an old joke that James and I throw out all the time. You won the lottery.
Shirley Jackson's the lottery. Quick, get my stones.
But you have like 3 people in 100 that'll go.
Well, I'm really glad though that I gave you an opportunity to bring that joke out.
No, we do it all the time. We don't give a shit if people get it. Okay. I just go, suck it. I'm too cool for the room. I'm so sorry you didn't read a book.
Like, you wouldn't have understood it.
Right?
I actually didn't read the lottery, but
oh my God, suck it.
I know, but The Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
That's and I mean that.
It's over there on the shelf next to Hell House by Richard Matheson, which is a superior book. But keep going.
You think so?
We'll argue about it in a second.
Okay,
you need to go back and watch the Bonehead episode where I go off about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Or listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that one because I think that it is a lot harder to actually scare someone in a novel than it is in a movie because it's harder to the atmosphere. You have to really work to build the atmosphere because you're just dealing with reading and just the line, the God whose hand am I holding? That was the first book that I read where something like that actually made me jump. I was like, oh, I'm creeped out.
Can I ask you a question that's not going to be about your book? Sorry to get off topic.
Go for it.
Is it actually haunted? Hill House. In the book. Just take the book. Just the book. Let's not talk about the Robert Wise movie. Let's not talk about the excellent 10-part miniseries I really enjoyed.
Really good.
Which isn't really The Haunting, but I enjoyed that.
Right, but it's,
that they took the nugget and made that.
Yes,
I loved it.
Yeah, no, it was beautiful. That was really well done.
Is it haunted? Or is it just in our head?
I think it's haunted, but I'm going to say I am, and this is why I write books and not poetry. Symbolism, right over my head. And especially probably at the age that I read that, I doubt I would have looked into it at all. I doubt that would have even occurred to me.
So a lot of people say that's the best haunted house book ever read.
Haunting of Hill House?
Yeah, I think so. I think that if you probably did an actual poll and tried not to smoke it, that you would have most people would have said, what do you think, James? What's most people?
No.
I'm in the minority of saying that I actually prefer the Robert Wise black and white film to the novel. I know, right? Never say that. I've said it on here before. No, and actually, my favorite haunted house book is by Richard Matheson, who's Hell House. That was made into a movie called The Legend of Hell House in the 70s, which is actually one of the few things that actually could use a remake.
Yeah, because now that's the one where it was.
But he also wrote I Am Legend, which has never actually been made accurately. We've talked about it on this show before. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah, I remember that.
Have
you ever read it?
I don't think I've read it. I have seen the movie that you're talking about, and it's one of those things that I think it was probably done well for the time, but it was so 70s.
It's a 70s British horror film.
I was about to say, and what I do love about The Legend of Hell House is it doesn't waste time explaining things.
No, and the book doesn't so much either. In the book, it is haunted, but
but I mean, I think in the movie, it's like these people have a gift; they can see things, they can feel things, and we're not going to tell you any more about that. You're on for the ride.
But I think Shirley Jackson is a brilliant writer. I do. I don't know. I think it's one of those books that I may go back and reread now that I'm older.
Because
you have a different perspective with age.
Yeah, you do.
Well, it's one of the things. I was talking to somebody and jumping to film a little bit, but Stephen King, Pet Sematary. Watching that as a kid, it was, the creepy sister, whatever. Watching it as an adult, as a father, that tennis shoe thing is done. And
I'm talking about the movie, not the book.
the movie. But literally, and that's that thing. The tennis shoe done. It doesn't matter. I don't care about anything
with the blood
else.
and then flips it with it.
And by the way, it plays with more blood here than no,
there's very little. There's just a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but it's
because you have a different perspective. You and I are new parents.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a line.
And no matter how many times you think it's cliche, no matter how many times you've heard it, no matter how many times you said it, it is so true. Yeah. It changes everything.
Yeah.
Well, that was
you know this, but
yeah,
just every part of your cells are just changed.
That's what I always tell Joe, and that's what I've said it on the show before too. The horror film that gets to me the most as an adult, as a parent, is Insidious.
Oh man!
Because your kid, it's your kid.
Good.
It's your kid.
Yeah, that was really good.
Because if this place is haunted right now, and I see a demon come through that wall and blood's pouring out of the vents and stuff, I'm like, hey Joe, guess what? I'm not coming here anymore. We're done. We're moving. Yeah. Like I go to my house tonight, and it's like there's 5 ghosts in the front yard going, hey, if you stay here another week, we're gonna kill you, honey. We're selling this place. We're going.
You can't get rid of.
But what do you do if it's your kid? It's like, okay, listen, we've had a good time, but we're gonna drop you off at an orphanage. And we're changing our name. And
on that note, let's go for one more break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the book.
But I think if we talk about
am I close?
We're about a minute. But I think having these conversations, and we'll get obviously to the book, but I think the idea of horror and why it works on people at different levels, and why this concept of you marry it and you can have these conversations about characters and poor Pinhead is a bureaucrat.
I'm standing by.
I still have a beer with him. I don't think it was a beer.
No, well, but I think I see
what you're saying.
And by the way, do you think though?
And this is a reason why I didn't get into the really good schools.
When you have
everything that I just put on your dream, and now you see it, and I've ruined it. I've put it, but no, you're going to be laying there later. You're going. And it's tweaked now forever.
Do you think if you did have a beer with him, you would get to have the conversation of, like, let me get a couple of beers in him first and be like, do you ever get tired of the chatter guy? Do you ever just say, no, come on, buddy, we're going on this.
Who do you hate the most? Who irritates you the most?
Of the other Cenobites or whatever, which is the one that you want to leave at the house?
Yeah.
So we've had a wonderful discussion, but I want to sell some of your books.
I would love to sell some of my books too.
Tell me about this. How did the idea come about to write Whisper to a Scream?
Whisper.
3 weeks ago, we had C. Courtney Joyner. Great. Go back. It's two.
I did start that. I watched like the first 15 minutes.
He's fantastic.
I did not watch that work.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What do you do again?
I'm a paralegal.
That sounds awful.
Actually, I love it.
Really?
I love it. I work for really just the best people. I really do.
Huh. What's that like? I'm joking.
Rare.
Work with great people. Rare. None of them are listening right now or watching. So,
Whispers in the Dark.
Whispers in the Dark. How did it come about? Tell me.
This
isn't your first novel, I'm assuming.
Well, no, but the first one will never see the light of day.
Well, yeah, you got to get the shit out first.
Yes, you really do. But seriously, if anyone tries to Harper Lee my ass after I die, make it stop. Nobody published that shit. It was terrible.
You remember when you said, "What's get laid mean?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
What's Harper Lee your ass? Is it something I'd be into?
No. I'd have to ask Chrissy. I don't know.
I'm not really into the whole butt thing, but much more of a
go tell a watchman.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't think I should tell him about the butt stuff. Which watchman? The big gigantic blue guy with his penis hanging out?
Oh my god.
You seem to at least be catching my reference.
Yes, I understand who Harper Lee is.
Yeah.
What about that mockingbird? Who did she shoot?
But that's actually an interesting thing in and of itself. The amount of things that get published after somebody died, and I think Harlan Ellison had the best comment. Like he left strict instructions: go into my office and light everything on fire. Yeah. I don't think they did that, thankfully, because I'm a big fan. But I do understand, like, if it was done and you signed off on it, it's one thing. So picking a corpse is another.
Not your first novel. Right. How did this one come about?
I think it was just sort of like my writing tends to be very character driven.
Yeah.
I'll just have, characters that sort of start to create themselves in my head.
Uh-huh.
And their story just kind of came about. I wanted to write horror. I love horror. I wanted to write something with ghosts. That's sort of my paranormal genre of choice.
Right.
And I think the characters just sort of kind of introduced themselves, and it kind of came from there.
And it's a strong female character.
Yes, yeah.
I was going to say, and
so you're sexist.
I am, yes.
Why do you hate men? I'll help you.
Let me give you some reasons.
I'll let you name a few reasons, and then I'll help because there's several
13 years you've been with your husband?
13 years.
I'm sure there's several reasons.
But and what I wanted to say,
your own
if you happen to be a huge Twilight fan, don't take this as an insult. You did
don't
not
read this book.
No, you did not create. You did not create Bella Swan.
No,
because that's my biggest. Well, I have several critiques of Twilight as a book, being an English education nerd.
It sold the shit out of itself, though.
But there's no description of her. It's let's talk about men. Like if you go back and read just the character description,
I've never read it, but
she has no.
Well, one of us has.
It's all.
But and then I literally I did that as a joke.
For you people listening, I'm pointing at James.
It is my duty to read what the kids
to please read. That. It's Harper Lee. It's Harper Lee. It's my duty to please that booty. We found another book.
Oh my God! I would so buy Harper Lee's duty to please that booty. Like Harper Lee presents
duty to please that booty. Otherwise, the only thing I ever took away from that horrible Shaft remake with Sam Jackson. It was in the trailer. It's my duty to please it. Forget it. Keep going.
Go ahead. Anyway, but yeah. And that's what I wanted to say was, by the way, my 6-year-old thinks it's hilarious to say booty all the time. And I'm just like,
well, tell him to add duty to it.
Do you know,
I don't need that.
You know, the real reason I'm pretty sure my parents got divorced is because my mom thinks farts are funny and my dad doesn't. And ultimately, that's incompatible. It's incompatible.
My mom thinks farts are funny too. I don't. Chad is much more of that. Thinks farts are funny. I guess it can be, but I don't know that I ever just laugh. It has to be in context.
Yeah. Like,
well, we want. That's probably going to be something I'm just saying.
As far
as lower level type humor. No, I'm right.
You think farts are funny?
So funny.
No matter what.
Pretty much. Yeah.
No matter the context. Just sitting there farts. That's hilarious.
Apparently, even just talking about it.
I'm getting to know you.
By the way, I love the fact that when we have authors on, when we have guests on, we do talk about the work, but we really there's no show like the. I'm not.
There's no show like this one. Come on and watch Patreon. Do my holes.
No, but I'm. Oh my God.
Duty booty.
Back when A&E
bureaucracy in hell.
Back when A&E was actually arts and entertainment and wasn't just showing, I don't know, Duck Quest or whatever it was.
It's a duck with a shield. I've got to get across limestone.
Watch that.
But they used to have actual authors on, and they would actually just talk, and they did the interviews. And now it's, I don't know. Once again, ducks are involved. I don't know. But
once again, it's duty booty. American picker duty booty.
I don't know if you can say picker and booty.
Picker duty booty.
I thought you were going to say American Horror Story.
Like American Horror Story. Duty booty. I give it 3 farts.
Okay. You don't really have to start to.
I'm not really farting.
No, but I know, but you need to rate.
I would never do that in front of a lady.
You need to rate things by
or James.
Thanks. I guess that works out for me.
What I'm really proud of is that I'm the one that took us off onto the stack. I feel really good about that.
No, we tried to sell your book.
I know. Okay, so Whispers in the Dark. It's a book.
Did you get your point out?
Well, no. What I was saying was
talking about it.
I come and go. Once again, no opposition on the junior switch, but junior switch
mainly go. Little less calm.
I'm getting old. But anyway,
I used to be able to shampoo a buffalo.
Oh my God.
Did you just come up with that phrase just now?
No, it came from college. I have a story I will tell you
That's
later.
Awesome.
The Royal Order Water Buffalo.
There was a guy I knew who was drunk in my apartment who screamed out, I could shampoo a buffalo.
I think you just told the story. Anyway,
I also learned Hatchet wound the same day.
It was a better day in the Louisville.
It was a better day in my apartment. I used to have some interesting parties.
I
like to surround myself with interesting Hatchet wounds. So that was our episode with Laurel Hightower. There was a problem with it as we were shooting it with the card. So we came back and we've got a second episode actually next week with her. Hopefully everything goes right. If you think we look rough, it's because we spent days in the basement editing as our computers have shut down. And this child here just randomly came in and pushed power 3 effing times while Daddy was working. It's a good thing I was gone. See, it's a joke. Chad looks rough. I have no idea why Chad looks rough. Why do you look rough? Harkonnen! Baron Harkonnen! That's it.
All I know about...
May the spice flow.
That's all I know about doing is there's an outbreak of nutmeg wars.
Anyway, what?
You never said her name.
I said Laura Hightower.
Yeah, he did.
I said her name. So anyway, next week we'll have her on again, and we're going to have a special guest star on the second episode with her.
Me!
It's not so special now. Not because we give it away. It's because it's Chad. What's my son doing? Go ahead.
He's handing out shoe boxes. He's preparing for his future occupation as Al Bundy. Oh! Bad aim! Booyah!
Share us on your social media. Thank you for tuning in to Bonehead.